legal precedent to protect the rights of religious minorities in regards to education. Our current educational system was structured through the direction of our leading rabbis of previous generations and serves as one of the cornerstones of our faith. Implementing the proposed regulations would damage a fundamental element of our religious practice, something we cannot, in good conscience, comply with. The part of the education law known as 801A would require that we teach our children heretical ideas and the LGBT agenda. That is something that we are obligated to give up our lives to avoid. This agenda of using education for indoctrination has been established by a long line of legislative and other policy changes in New York State over many years. From well before the New York State legislature passed the Dignity for All Students Act in 2010, which modified education law, section 801A, to require teaching respect and tolerance for a flagrant display of LGBT, which the Bible brands as abomination. If the proposed regulations, which again would be followed by guidelines delineating how specifically to apply those regulations, are eventually approved in the context of this pro-LGBT agenda, then tens of thousands of people within the Torah communities of New York State will have no other choice other than to engage in the storied American tradition of civil disobedience. The Torah is our guiding light in all matters, and we as a faith community are duty-bound to fulfill its precepts, come what may. One of those dictates is to remain law-abiding, loyal, and productive members of society in our countries of residence, stating clearly, pray for the peace of the kingdom of your country of residence, and the law of the land is obliging. However, the Torah admonishes devout Jews to display gratitude to those who have bestowed kindness on them, and given that, we are extremely thankful for the freedom that we experience on a multitude of levels in this United States of America in general and New York State in particular. However, at the same time, our Torah also commands us to resist laws which fly in the face of Torah precepts, particularly foundational precepts, as we mentioned before, promoting heresy and celebrating flagrant display of immorality. We plead that these regulations not be implemented so as not to place ourselves in a position where we must disobey. It should be noted that if failure to comply with these regulations and their ensuing guidelines should be approved, would result in the forfeiting of any or all government funding for uncooperative yeshivas, it would not alter our position in any way. No amount of money is worth altering the fundamental nature of Jewish education. Any funding precondition on altering our educational system, we as parents gladly eschew. Even if penalties were to become even more severe, such as jail time, we as Jews are ready to pay whatever price necessary to ensure that Torah education remains intact in its historical entirety. The Torah obligates us to shun cooperation until the absolute end in this matter. As a minority faith, we have weathered many storms, many attempts to alter our convictions and modes of practice from a dizzying variety of groups and individuals. We are determined to resist this current attempt as well. Bearing this in mind, we plead with the Board of Regents to reject the proposed regulations, since we as a community cannot in good conscience, and the servants of God carry them out or comply. If New York State ultimately opts to make these regulations binding, then we will have been left no other alternative than to respectfully disobey. Their establishment will erode personal and communal freedom in New York, forcing us as a community to seriously reconsider if there is still a place for us in this state. We plead with the Board of Regents to reject this affront to liberty and the free exercise of religious liberty and individual conscience. Thank you very much.